Hello again, everybody. It's Harry Boxer, the Technical Trader. It's Monday, June 21st. These are the charts of the day. Today I'm going to talk about the Boxer short list, and we are going to do the entire list, give you a complete rundown of what we're seeing and what they're looking like, particularly in lieu of the sharp break in the market today. We'll see if that does continue, but let's be prepared. Here we have AIXG, which has topped over a period of several months, broken down in May, and as you can see, snapped back to the declining top line lateral price resistance, but with very uninspiring technicals and quite negative. In fact, I'm looking for lower levels that gets down to the bottom of the channel, down around 20. Next up is Avon Products. Avon, which formed a big top over the course of the last 8 or 10 months, then broke hard in May, bounced again and made lower lows at the end of May. The snapback that we had recently, again, fairly uninspired technicals and low volume. As a result, the declining top line, lateral price resistance, and moving averages were tested today, and the stock reversed negatively. I expect the possibility of a move down and retest the lows, maybe even lower, to test the bottom of the channel down around 24 or maybe even 23, my next trading target. Beckman Coulter also in a downtrend and a solid down channel after topping out over the course of August through March. Broke at the end of March, snapped back on, I believe, earnings report or news or something. Anyway, the stock made lower lows, bounced, and now is in near the top of the channel. I expect this to roll over too, as the indicators, technical indicators, look quite negative, and I would expect the test to roll over and at least retest the lows down around 55, perhaps even as low as 53. BIO with the big negative reversal in May, and the bounce then morphed into a declining channel. The real recent snapback with uninspiring and negative technicals indicates to me this stock could go lower, or at least to a retest of lows, if not down in the low 80s. But beneath that, we could see something in the mid 70s. BlackRock's been lower since it broke down at the end of March. Bear flagged in here, broke support, ran steadily lower for about a month, and then snapped back to resistance. But you can see it continues to make lower lows, lower highs, poor technicals. I'm expecting this one to move down to the 140 range thereabout. BP, despite all the negative action, dropping from 60 down to 29 and change, and finally bouncing, has formed a bear wedge of sorts. I would be very careful here because a break down below this wedge could lead to something quickly in the even down in the low to mid 20s. CEDC, which broke hard in April and May, bounced from made a lower low, formed a down channel, wedged for about the last 6 weeks. A breakdown from here could result in a nasty spill that takes us down into the high teens, low 20s. CF in a distinct downtrend, broke in April, and continued lower in a nice steady pattern. Here we have a little bear wedge forming, rather weak technicals again. I expect if this does break to the downside, we're going to see a move down towards 53, 54, about 10 points from here. CNX, similar pattern develops here. A breakdown in March, bear flag, another flag, a breakdown, another bear wedge, and another breakdown, followed by a bigger kind of bear flag pattern. Right at declining top line and moving averages near price resistance, I expect a roll over here. If it does occur, should lead to a move down towards the $30 range. DGW, Duoyan Global Water, remains in a downtrend since its topping pattern last fall. In January, the stock broke, snapped back in March, but in a slow angle of ascent with poor technicals, and this is what resulted, a move down from 30 to 19 and change. But currently, the best it can do is bear flag, and market pressures may pull this one back down into the high teens. Diamond Offshore, another driller that looks like, or at least oil and gas related company, broke down hard and now is bear wedging on low volume with poor technicals. I'd look for a failure and a rollover to at least retest the lows near the 54.5 range. Drillquip also broke down, snapped back in a bear flag type pattern. We're at the top of the channel here. A rollover could result in a move back down to at least test a low around 40, 41, maybe even move into the high 30s. FUQI, despite the big move down since we recommended it back in November last year, up around 22, which got down under 8, still has not been able to develop any technicals of any consequence and appears to have more downside potentially to move in the 6.5-7 zone. Gilead Sciences has snapped back here, but again on low volume with poor technicals. The down channel that's in force could roll over at any point, particularly right around here, for a retest down towards the $32 level, and if that breaks, something in the towards 29.30 may be doable. Google, which has had a very, very sharp break in April and a strong slide down into the early May period, has bounced back and forth in a narrowing calling type action. This overall pattern could result in more downside and move down towards the 425.30 zone, my next trading target, with a minor support at around 444. Global Payments, which broke hard in January, which triggered this downslide, continues to make lower lows, consolidated for about 5 weeks until recently, when it failed right at the declining moving average and lateral price resistance and collapsed for 372 today. But we still think more downside is in store for this stock, and I would look for a test of the mid-30s on it, maybe lower. Goldman Sachs, market leader, broke hard in April. It's been steadily slipping in a declining channel. We have a little bear flag forming here. A breakdown from here could result in something in a 125.27 zone, my next target. IPC broke hard with a breakaway gap to the downside, has snapped back with poor technicals. Near resistance, price and moving average resistance. I expect a rollover retest to occur that tests the 21.22 zone at least. JST has been forming a big bear wedge ever since it broke down hard in April, and a break out of this wedge to the downside could result in a quick move down to retest the lows around 13, perhaps even something in the 10.5, 11 range if things get real ugly. MCF, Contango Oil and Gas, another energy company under siege, is in a distinct down channel with a bear flag forming, had a negative reversal date today. Let's scroll in and you'll see how the stock reversed down hard from its moving averages. I expect a retest of the around 40, a test of the 43.5 range at the bottom of the channel, but perhaps something in the low 40s or worse if it breaks that zone. Monsanto, which we've been bearish on all year, has dropped from 85 to the high 40s, and yet the best it can do is form a bear flag here. Stock looks lower. I'm looking for a move down towards the 40-42 zone if this one breaks. MicroStrategy, after a big run up, topped, broke down in February, consolidated for a couple of months, broke down again at the end of April, and now is in a bear wedge type formation. You can see the declining tops and bottoms. We had a reversal off 81 to close at 79.16 today. I suspect that could be it, and the stock could start to head lower. Look for a retest of 66, maybe as low as high 50s. Noble Energy broke down, snapped back, formed a bear wedge. To me, looks lower. Let's look for a move back to 56 for a retest. NCIT, which broke hard in early May, has been consolidating for 4 weeks in a bear coiler flag and should be breakdown to get to the high teens. Ocean Engineering, OII, strong downward move, heavy volume, kind of semi-climax, but the snapback came on with poor technicals and has now retraced back to lateral price and declining tops resistance, as well as moving average resistance, and this thing should break down and retest 40. Priceline broke hard in May, hadn't had much of a bounce, it's consolidating in a zone, maybe forming a down channel, could take it down to test 157, my next trading target. Perfect World had a good day today, actually up on a day, but backed off its highs right at its declining tops line. This one still looks negative enough for me to say I have a target around $20 on it. Transocean Rig, which he had been trading lately, did have a minor breakout, but still declining tops line right here, maybe a powerful one. And the way this looks, the way the pattern is developed with the volume and technicals on it, I still think we may need to do at least a retest. Look for a pullback to 43, 44.